Everyone, this is Juan over with Watermelon AI. One thing we'll cover is going to be prompt engineering. So basically how to go back and forth with Claude or other large language model tools and ensure that you're getting the most optimal output from your materials. The second thing that we're going to be going over, how to use different tools for different things. We have a list of 10 different files that we're calling expenses. We want to consolidate all of this data into one Excel file. And you might come across, in your day job doing something along these lines. Basically, what I'm trying to achieve here is I'm trying to create some code, but I'm not much of a coder. Whether it's Visual Basic, VBA, SQL, Python, whatever, I'm not much of a coder. But I do know that with a line or a few lines of code, I could probably get this done faster than I could if I was doing this manually. So if I was just selecting the data set and copy pasting into a larger file. And I'll show you a little bit about what I mean by that. So why don't we open up one of these files and I'll show you what our data looks like. So this is pretty standard data. We have a transaction ID and we have transaction date, the name, email, some categories, different departments. What else? We have some notes, and then we have the amount of the transaction here. We've got 600 rows. And if we were to go look at our other files, let's just pull up version 3, for example, we have another 600 rows of this data. So we could, if we wanted to combine all of this, copy this, go to our other Excel file, go here, and then paste it, right? But that might be annoying. That might take a while. Maybe you don't have 10 files. Maybe you have 100 files. Maybe the formatting is really funky to where you always have to insert a few rows or insert a few columns, and it ends up getting messy, right? So one thing that we can do is we can load them all into Claude. We can get an output, or we can ask for something else called VBA or some lines of code that could help us achieve the same goal. So why don't we do this? Why don't we do both? Why don't we load all of these files into Claude Code and ask it to consolidate this for us? Why don't we jump over to our Claude Desktop app? So this desktop app lives on your Mac. Let's give it a task as well. Maybe this time we say we want some VBA code and we want to achieve the same goal. We'll run them both together. So just a couple different approaches. In this one, we're asking Claude for it to do the work for us. And as you can see, he's kind of already started here. And then in this one, we're asking for VBA code. So we want some code that we could copy paste. And, if we didn't want to provide all these files, which in this situation I did, but, you could just describe the files to Claude and it'll know, it'll pick up exactly what you're kind of doing. Cool. So that was quick. Let's take a look at what it put together. And we have 3,600 rows. It didn't seem like it captured all of my files. So let's close this out. This guy's still working. Let's check this file. Yeah, this looks more like it. 6,000 rows. Okay, so this guy provided VBA instructions, Alt F11. Let's open this up a little bit more. So if it does get a little funky where it's not sharing the right file, you can just screenshot this and just say something along those lines. I can't see your VBA files. Please send the code directly in the chat. There we go. So maybe that'll fix it. Let's try that. Very nice. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. 6,000 rows, 6,001 rows. Let's close this and see what we got. Okay, sweet. So it does seem like it was able to figure it out. I'll walk you guys through what the issue was. Claude made a mistake. here, this file format wasn't entirely accurate. We needed to be v2 period 1. And it was saying v2 underscore 1. So originally it wasn't able to find the files and then able to loop through them because they all have, one small typo on the file name. Then it was able to get through everything. And so now what we can actually do is we could compare our two files. And you always want to check your work. This is why we're doing this. We want to see if there's any variances between the two items. Maybe if we added all the tax amounts, we could probably infer that we have the same data set between each file. So this one has 560, let's just do tax amount. Cool. So 561, 364, 561, 364 in this file as well. We can infer that we have the exact same data between these two files. We've tested our data set across two different formats. So we not only used this VBA tooling to help us kind of consolidate all those files, we also used Claude Code to do it for us. And now obviously Claude Code was much faster. We did have to correct it one time here briefly, just because, again, these large language models can make mistakes, and really it's up to us to be able to check the work that they do. But in the same way that human beings and junior analysts can make mistakes, and we need to be able to check their work and kind of iterate and help them improve, right? So it's kind of the same setup. If we're looking at timing and we're looking at efficiency, Claude Code will be able to do things faster. If we fed this data to ChatGPT, which I've done it before already, it's not going to be able to figure it out, unfortunately. ChatGPT is really lagging behind Claude right now. And you can try it yourself. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Please go ahead, try it. These tools are always kind of improving upon themselves, right? Anyway, that's module 3, and I look forward to kind of seeing you guys back in module 4 and continue experimenting with these large language model tools and kind of showing you what else they can do. Look forward to seeing you then. Chat soon.